Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Lucas. And thank you for that. For those into or wanting to either contribute to the channel or send in the paid request, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Be a review, topic, reaction, commentary, re-review, or even a donation. I don't mind at all. If not, no worries. If so, thank you so much. And Lucas, hope you enjoy. I figured I would do this in a different angle. Actually, I was just playing a video game, and then I got done with that Dead Space 2, and then I figured, you know what? Since the chair's here, and camera's here, and I got room on the camcorder, why not do the commentary like this? So, be a bit different. He wanted me to do a commentary on the 1999 film, The Mummy. So I have a pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And get a taste of the mellow yellow. As the Universal logo is being brought up here. Now, The Mummy I did not see in the theater. But I did see... It might have been VHS that I saw this on. It might, maybe, or was it DVD? I can't remember. But I remember this being a nice surprise hit, and saw it, always enjoyed it. That was a fun adventure popcorn movie, and to be perfectly honest, my favorite Mummy film. Obviously, this is CG from 1999, but I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen much, much worse. Now, this is directed by Stephen Sommers. By this point, he had done Deep Rising, which is my favorite film of his. Deep Rising is a very fun creature feature film starring Treat Williams. Came out, supposed to be 97, but it got delayed because effects had to be redone, so they came out in 1998. It was supposed to come out before Titanic and other water movies, or water-based movies, or supposed 97 was the year where you had Anaconda, you had The Relic, you had Mimic, you had all these creature features. It's all wow, there had not been a creature feature film for a while, there had not been a movie on the water for a while, and then Speed 2, Titanic, stuff in the water, and then again, The Relic, Mimic, Anaconda, a shitload of fucking creature features. Which I enjoy most of those mentioned. So that did not do well, but still he was able to get the job for this. Arnold Vosloo on the left, who is on, well, he's in one of my favorite films, Hard Target. Although apparently if you ask him about Hard Target, he'll get mad at you because he didn't have a good time making it. This is what I've heard. Arnold Vosloo, he was also Darkman in the direct-to-video sequels Darkman 2 and 3. This is probably his most famous role, though. But yeah, this is my favorite Mummy film. I never liked the Boris Karloff film. I liked a chunk of those older movies. I liked Dracula. I liked Frankenstein. I liked The Invisible Man. I saw the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde from the 30s with was a Frederick March. I liked that, 1931 or so. But, yeah, Wolfman was there. Creature from the Black Lagoon was there. The Mummy I just thought was really boring, the Boris Karloff one. And yeah, it's not because it's an old film. I just named a bunch of old films I enjoyed. And then throughout the years you had Hammer try to do a bit with the Mummy. I think Lon Chaney Jr. played the Mummy a few times back in the day. I mean, there's now a whole lot of Mummy movies. There was a one in the 80s. Was a Curse of the Mummy? I can't remember what it was. It was like a 80s exploitation film, 70s, 80s. Dawn of the Mummy, that's what it was called. It was a little bit gory. Not a great movie. Then there was one, I think Russell Mulcahy did it with, I want to say Jason Scott Lee. And that one had one of those, like, the downbeat ending, and the budget was not there, and Tale of the Mummy or Tales of the Mummy, something like that. I can't remember the titles to these movies since I don't really care about them. But this one came out in '99, and I know for a while George Romero wanted to direct a mummy film. Because when you look at George Romero's career, may he rest in peace, he did stuff in the early '90s like The Dark Half. But then you did not see him for a while, and that's because he was working in Hollywood, writing scripts, getting close to making movies, and apparently Romero was just miserable. There was the Resident Evil script, which a lot of people disliked, but he wanted to do that, and they said no, because again, they thought the script was terrible. So he didn't get that job. He directed the commercial for Resident Evil 2 overseas, but he did not get the Resident Evil movie. He was apparently close to getting the Mummy movie. That never happened. Again, the Deep Rising did not do well, but I guess people saw enough good, just like I do. I mean, I love Deep Rising, that they, hey, let's give this guy a shot. Poor timing that it was released in January. It's no reason it should have been released in January. But this came out in May and was a nice surprise hit. And yeah, it's a fun Indiana Jones type of adventure movie. I think some people didn't like it because it, the Mummy, you think of horror, and this goes a bit away. I mean, some of the stuff, the idea is horrific, like, getting your tongue cut off and getting bandaged alive here, and then when the Mummy, you see the inner bits of the Mummy, and it's taking all these organs to reconstitute itself. But it's not disturbing, creepy horror, if that makes sense. And this is the same year that you had The Matrix had come out a few months before this. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace was coming out around this time. It's the same year that you had, I believe, Fight Club, The Blair Witch Project, The Sixth Sense. A lot of big movies in this year. I mean, you look at 1999, there's a lot of damn good movies that year. Now, when this, of course, was a hit, it got two sequels. The Mummy Returns, which isn't that great. I could watch it. I don't hate it. But The Mummy Returns was a step down. I know my friend Mike OCP, he really enjoys it. He thinks it's very underrated. I think it's a step down. I mean, add in a little kid in there, and then, of course, the title is the same Mummy again, and just felt redundant. And then, oh yeah, their past selves. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. Just be a regular person caught in an extraordinary situation. Now it's like, well, yeah, in the past you were reborn into this soul, and it's like, what the fuck? Rachel Weisz in your past life, what? And then the Scorpion King, that CGI stuff that was thought of. I mean, people, that's like an infamous CGI effect at the end. But here we have the left here. I forgot his name. He was in Deep Rising as the comic relief for Treat Williams. This guy on the left, and he appeared in a few other Stephen Sommers films. He was also in Lord of Illusions. And of course on the right here we have the Brendan Fraser. I've always been a Brendan Fraser fan. The first films I saw him in were Encino Man and Airheads, and I enjoyed both of those. And he had done drama as well. He did this film With Honors with Joe Pesci. He did School Ties. So he was doing drama, he was doing comedy. And this is probably definitely the biggest hit It's the only franchise he got. I mean, he had that George of the Jungle, and that was a hit. That's why I know Brendan Fraser recently is, oh, I'd like to do another Mummy film. I love you, Brendan, but no, we don't need another Mummy film. To be honest, there's only been one good Mummy film. It was a one and done deal. It wasn't a franchise type of property. The first film, it ended. The couple got together. They got the money. There's treasure in their chest. Not chest, but in their satches, their pouches. It's cool, you know, you did an opening scene establishing how badass this guy is. Courageous, last stand, guns a-blazing, boom, 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 boom. Two pistol bang, bang. Of course, showing how much of a turncoat Benny is to save his own life, which will, of course, come into play many times afterward. Definitely showcasing some of that physicality like he had showed in George of the Jungle and others. And sadly, Brendan Fraser, it seemed like he got blacklisted for a while. For what I understand, there was some kind of upper, I forget the guy's title, some upper important guy that tried to be sexual with him, and he's like, what are you doing? And then the upper echelon got offended and blacklisted him, and it's like, oh, well, it's a guy, so, oh, that doesn't matter. I'm like, what? Just felt sorry for the guy, and he just seems like a nice guy, seems like a very genuinely nice guy. I know he's got a new film called The Whale, which then people are like, why the fuck is Brendan Fraser playing it? It should be an actual fat guy, not just guy in a fat suit. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. What's next? Doing a porn film? You should have a guy that's got a bigger dick. He's canceled. Fuck off. I always thought this was a cool shot. The face in the sand. I mean, I kind of wonder how they did that, because that does look practical. It looks like something physically done in the sand. I'm guessing maybe there's something buried and then they some type of suction to reveal the face. And sorry about my the cut on my tongue is healing a bit, but it just makes the saliva. I know it's gross. Cairo, Egypt, 3 years later. But like I said, Brendan Fraser seems like a nice guy. I know he's also was doing that Batgirl movie. I mean, I don't give a crap about Batgirl. I don't care that it got canceled. The only thing is, I feel bad for Brendan Fraser. I feel bad for Brendan Fraser because, but at the same time, he got paid. Maybe people feel sorry for him. He was playing a villain, Firefly or something, a guy with a flamethrower. It's like, well, that's cool. Just wish it wasn't in a Batgirl movie. Have it be for a Batman. I know Batman's tiresome, but still. Here we have Rachel Weisz, which is another person you don't really see a lot nowadays. Like Rachel Weisz, you never hear about. Nice domino effect. You just imagine the staging of this. Because imagine if one or two of those did not fall. Either you imagine all the time it would take to restage all that, so you have to get it right on the first take. I know there's a commentary. I haven't listened to it, so I don't know if there's any stories about it. This guy I recognize. I don't remember from what though. I think he was in Stardate. I could be wrong. But yeah, Rachel Weisz, I mean, she was in this in the second film. She was not in the third Mummy film. She was in Constantine with Keanu Reeves. And very brief if you... so brief you'd miss it, and it's in the longer cut of this film called Death Machine from 94 or so. Fun... I was going to say Creature Feature, but the villain is this machine, robotic machine that Brad Dourif created. Still a very fun movie. Like she has, if you watch an extended cut, she has like one or two lines, like very brief. But yeah, I'd probably say this is her most famous role, Rachel Weisz. I don't know the deal was with not having her in the third film. Maybe she looked at the script and said, "Well, this sucks," which I don't blame her. Because the third Mummy does suck. I know you're getting a bit dark, but not much to see. Is just my face. But yeah, the third Mummy film is terrible. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. It's cool that you did a different Mummy, and but that's cool. And but then it was Brendan and Rachel Weisz, and them working together that made it fun. When I got to the rest of the family and the son and all this other stuff, it just I'm like, I don't care about that. I really don't. I don't care about the grown son. And then you kind of realize that this just I did only need to be a one-time thing. Maybe they hoped they would be like the Indiana Jones thing. Like Indiana Jones has multiple films and multiple good films, but and Stephen Sommers did not come back for the third one. I believe that was Rob Cohen, who did Triple X and Stealth and the first Fast and the Furious. I think this guy's name is John Hannah. Could be mistaken. Can't remember what else he's been in. But the actors do their jobs fairly well of what it's needed. I don't know what Roger Ebert's thoughts on this, but I would not be surprised if it was positive because it seemed like he was a fan of those adventure type of movies. Like he's one of the few critics that gave a good review, a positive review for Congo, which I'm a big fan of as well. It seemed like for the most part for adventure movies he was a sucker, a fan for them. As I can be as well. I mean, unless there's shit like Jungle Cruise with The Rock. Like that's a lame ass movie, The Jungle Cruise. Yeah, so good that no one fucking remembers it. Remember, we did a sequel. Yeah, no, it did not get a sequel, and it doesn't deserve it. I don't know much other details about the making of, but I mean, even if I did, it'd be just me reading off Wikipedia or IMDb trivia, and who knows how much of that is 100% true or just, I mean, you never know. Because you find out later why this guy accidentally burned this thing. Because he's secretly working with a group of people to keep that hidden. Part of me wonders if they look at a character like this guy and they just go, oh, it's racist. Sorry, just Brendan Fraser just he worked well because he had that sense of fun, humor. He could do the physicality well. I think he proved that in films like George of the Jungle. But I think he had that fun charisma and sense of fun in the tone of his voice that made him a likable lead. And it's sad because they didn't really get him for a lot of other, like, I'm not saying it has to be adventure movies exactly like The Mummy, but the films I think of, like he did, would be films like Dudley Do-Right, Bedazzled, Furry Vengeance. What was that one? Monty Bone. And it's like, okay, Bedazzled was there. Monty Bone actually didn't mind for what it was, considering its reputation. Dudley Do-Right I thought was awful. Furry Vengeance is perhaps the worst film he's been in. Just bad choices. I mean, sure, like Bedazzled, hey, it's Harold Ramis, you know, the guy who did Groundhog Day, or but and then the Mummy sequels, but just oh, he did that one with Harrison Ford about I forget what it was called, Extraordinary Measures, or I can't remember what it is. We passed it. We passed it, but my one of my favorite lines is like, "Do you swear?" And he goes, "Every damn day." No, no, no. I get what you mean. I thought that was a fun piece of dialogue. Stuff like that makes it has a fun, escapist tone to it. I think the timing of this could be a bit faster though, because it seems pretty lengthy. Of his neck didn't break, he's being strangled, and it feels it lasts quite a bit of time. I'm not saying it lasts for 2 minutes, but it just seems like maybe a bit tighter of a pace for that, because it seemed like he would have been strangled a lot quicker before that timing. But that's just a little. Maybe not. Maybe in real life that would not be the case. I don't know. Thankfully, I've never had that happen. For those who are doctors, you let me know. Back when you'd have a lead guy be charismatic and tough, and a lady actually fall in love with him, and There's no fucking politics. There's no SJW shit. Nothing to jam down your throat. I mean, the way Brendan Fraser is, he does feel like he could belong in those old school 30s, 40s adventure films. Going down the river and maybe be some stop motion animation, like a King Kong type of movie. And like I said, that's another thing why I don't think the sequels worked. I mean, number one, I don't think they were that great of a movie. Like I said, I don't hate the second one, but it's meh. But there's a story here. It's been told. It finishes. There was no other story left to tell. Indiana Jones, at least it's the idea of he's an archaeologist, so there's all various items he could look for that he could get himself into these situations. But here, that's not really the case. He's the bit of a cocky Americans who will be the victims to the mummy. Again, you couldn't have a lady today in this manner and demeanor because it'd be, oh, she's too weak and too this and too that. And it's like, no, she's just playing a character who was stuck in a library. She would not know a lot about battle because she was in a library for the most part. And like I say, it was nice to see Brendan, like, there's humor, but he's still, for the most part, a fairly serious role that he's playing. He's not winking to the camera every 5 minutes. And like I say, with Brendan Fraser, I grew up with Encino Man with Pauly Shore and Sean Astin. I saw that back in the day on VHS. I know when the DVD came out for that, it was slightly altered. There's a scene here or there that was changed for some stupid reason. And I don't think that film still got a Blu-ray to this day. And then he would actually appear in a few Pauly Shore films, Brendan Fraser. He was in a quick bit in A Son-in-Law and In the Army Now. I think that's it. He might have been in the Pauly Shore Must Die thing that Pauly directed. You don't have any children. Someday I might. So I'll get back to that. Just these two work very well together. Kevin J. O'Connor, I think that's this guy's name. Kevin J. O'Connor, who's in again Deep Rising and he always have more balls than brains. Fraser's reaction here says his face smile. Goodbye, Betty. Just dust his ass off. The timing worked very well for that. And Fraser made that scene. Well, both him and Kevin J. O'Connor made that work. That's her fake. Goodbye, Benny. But yeah, other than, I mean, like I said, Encino Man and then Airheads, wasn't that too long after Encino Man? Airheads with Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, and you had a lot of cameos in that. You had Harold Ramis, may he rest in peace. Ernie Hudson was in that. Chris Farley was in that. Even like Beavis and Butthead, David Arquette. There's a lot of fucking people in that movie. Michael Mateen. Now, is that weapon in his hand supposed to be like a knife, but like a hook thing? Kind of weird to have that. I guess unless he does only have one hand. Two sitchers, two pistol bang bang. I don't know why, but that stuff's just pretty cool, pretty satisfying to see. And you have the comic relief character, but he's not annoying, he's not irritating, John Hannah. Because he's not going to the camera being so over the top and look how goofy I am, that type of thing. It feels kind of natural to his character. Of course, I should mention the store too. The store, I believe you got Jerry Goldsmith doing the store, and when you get Jerry Goldsmith in there, you're in good, for the most part, good hands. Because Jerry Goldsmith is my favorite composer. Him and John Carpenter. But Jerry Goldsmith, I mean, he did the first three Rambo films. He did Leviathan, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But you did some satisfying gunplay, and then, boom, some nice haymakers here. Boom, 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 boom. To the stomach and a bit old kick in the ass to go. Wait here, I'll go get help. Now, someone who has sit shoes and shoot 'em, a lot of times people do shoot it with the thing where they put the hand up and they go on the like that. Is that really that effective, or is that a movie thing? Because I don't know, it seems like some people do that, and it seems a bit over the top, and I'm sure some of that, yeah, is worthwhile, but it seems like some people do it a bit too big or broad, and wonder if people who actually shoot and have shot if they get annoyed by some of it, or if it's no, actually it's a pretty good representation. Because I don't know, I haven't shot it. I got all the horses. Hey Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river. And the movie's pretty decently paced. I mean, we're over a half hour in at this point. So we got, 90 minutes left. But we have the adventure going up there. We have the release of the mummy. We have what the mummy can do. His powers growing. Then cascading over the city. Have to save the city. Have to save the girl. And then when you get to the second one, it's just like, okay, well, what else is there? Yet again, a mummy is out. Yet again, we have to save the world, save the city, whatever. Yet again, Brendan fights the mummy. Only it's a little bit because I think at one point Arnold Vosloo loses his powers, so they have a bit of a sword fight, and then this awful CGI Dwayne Johnson thing. Camels. Never rode a camel. I mean, if you think about it, there's not even a whole lot of these type of adventure movies made in today's age. Like I said, Sally, the last one I could think of was the Jungle Cruise. And then there was one called The Lost City of Z. Well, I guess, I mean, they're doing Indiana Jones 5. Like, we need the Indiana Jones 5. Listen, I love the Indiana Jones films. I love the first 4. Yes, even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I saw it in the theater, and I love it then, I love it now. Does it have flaws? Sure. Too much CGI, stupid monkey CG crap. I still really enjoy that film. Harrison Ford is 80 years old. And I'm sorry, with the way sequels have been done, with the Star Wars sequels, the Matrix 4, but why should I have hope for it? Give me a break. And people can promise all they want, but promises don't mean jack shit. They're being watched. And that guy there is Oded Fehr, I believe is his name. Oded Fehr is a pretty capable actor. He was in... The only other I could think of is the Resident Evil movies. He was in the second one, and he was in the, what was it, Carlos? And then he was in the third one. And then he came back as like a clone, and was it the fourth or fifth? I can't even tell them apart after the third one. Because I think there were 7. There was what, Retribution. There was... Fuck, I can't remember what the hell they were called now. 4, 5, and 6. I can't fucking remember. One was Retribution. I can't remember what the fuck. Afterlife, I think was one. Afterlife, Retribution, and... What the fuck was the other one called? I don't know. And that guy we saw with the umbrella, I know he's familiar looking. Like, we'll see him again. But the guy that had a bit of holding an umbrella, I believe he was in Jumanji. Yeah, I could be wrong on that. I guess that's another running gag. Goodbye, Benny. So long, Benny. We had when he threw him off the boat. This one thrown off the horse. That was at the very end when the guy kind of screws himself over. So long, Benny. I would say the production value looks pretty good, pretty decent for, especially 1999. Like shots like this, in shots like this, I mean, it does look like it has a nice scope to it. It doesn't look like a cheap movie. And it doesn't look like every fucking frame is CGI and filtered all to hell like so many films nowadays. They put so many damn filters. Even if it's not CG, it looks like it. Yeah, that guy there with the umbrella, I think he was in Richie Rich and Jumanji. I could be wrong though. I get names and people mixed up a lot. But like I was saying, they don't really make a lot of movies like this anymore. And then they tried to do another Mummy film, and it was a Tom Cruise movie. And listen, I like Tom Cruise. I like a lot of Tom Cruise's movies. Loved Edge of Tomorrow. I did not mind Oblivion. The last couple of Mission Impossible films were pretty damn good. I did not mind Top Gun Maverick. That was okay. I didn't love it like other people did, but that was okay. But The Mummy was awful. Like, The Mummy is the worst Tom Cruise film in a long time. Should have figured, considering who the hell directed it. I know they say Tom Cruise had more of a hand in it, but still, just the guy directing it is the guy who is ruining Star Trek. Well, J.J. Abrams did that, and then this guy's finishing the job. But that Mummy film is awful. I mean, that had a bigger budget than this, but this looks better. It looks bigger. It looks like a bigger scope. That one, I don't know what the hell it was trying to do. It was trying to make a new dark universe where, oh, what do I have? Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man, and the Bride of Frankenstein, and we don't have all these people. And there was even a picture taken with all those folks. And because of how catastrophic of a bomb the Mummy was, that was completely destroyed. Can you imagine being one of those actors and be like, what the fuck? Well, that's not my fault. Well, tough titty, you don't have a job. Well, they were able to get other jobs, but still. I just came crashing down. But yeah, it just wasn't that good of a film. The action scenes were lackluster. Tom Cruise wasn't bad, but like this bitch trying to rip off an American Wolf in London. It wasn't scary, it wasn't creepy, and it wasn't funny. Like this one has a good sense of adventure and excitement. And like I said, it worked once, not multiple times. I think this is where this guy gets it. But yeah, Stephen Sommers, To be perfectly honest, his career was pretty lackluster after this. I mean, he did The Mummy Returns, he did Van Helsing, I think he did that, and that wasn't... I could watch Van Helsing nowadays as a time waster. It doesn't get me mad, but there's a lot of improvements. Hugh Jackman was not the problem. It was kind of cool to see him, and I don't mind the idea. But just the way Dracula was portrayed, it's like one of the most pussy Draculas out there. The way the Frankenstein monster was portrayed, this overdose of CGI. And yeah, there's CGI in here, but a lot of these, construction of the locations and the sets and all this stuff helps sell that world. And it's supposed to be acid, yeah. Well, you see that briefly, but that makeup job isn't too bad. Isn't too shabby. And then what was this? I think Steven Summers do the first G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra? I believe he did. I don't know what the hell he's done since. Actually, I want to get my phone here to look up some stuff so I'm not too silent. So, I'm back to now. We get these bugs here. Scarabs. Which, I mean, I can understand this being done CGI because I don't know. Well, I mean, there are ways to do this practical, let's be fair. In the 80s it would be done. I mean, Galaxy of Terror, I believe there was something under Sid Haig's arm, and then he's trying to get it out, and... So there are ways that you could have done this. Up close to the stomach. Still, how many alien films deal with chest bursts and stuff? But to try to do this all in one take would be pretty tough, to be fair. I can understand that. But pretty much what I'm doing here on my phone is I'm going to look up okay. $19.99. Okay, here we go. Watch it, don't hit the wall. There you go. That's a hell of a hit. So let me look up a few things. Steven Summers, he did a film called Catch Me If You Can in 1989 and The Adventures of Huck and Finn. I forgot he did The Jungle Book for Jason Scott Lee. Deep Rising 98, This is The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, Van Helsing, G.I. Joe. Oh, Odd Thomas, that's right. He did do Odd Thomas, which was there with Anton Yelchin. May he rest in peace. And yeah, Brendan Fraser. Like I said, it's just sad that after The Mummy, like, these are the roles he got. Dudley Do Right the same year, Bedazzled, Monty Bone, The Mummy Returns, Looney Tunes Back in Action didn't help. He was in Crash, which won an Oscar, but that was very much... People were really pissed about that. He Journey to the Center of Earth, that's right, he did do that. Furry Vengeance. That was really terrible. But, I mean, he is in the new Martin Scorsese film with Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. So that's cool that he's in a Scorsese film. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, let's up this guy here, John Hannah. He was in Four Weddings and a Funeral, Sliding Doors, I remember vaguely, The Hurricane with Denzel. Oh, he did a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde film in 2002, and then released in 2003. And a bunch of films. Oh, he was in that new Overboard film with Anna Faris. Wow. And yeah, Jerry Goldsmith did the music. May 7th, 1999, this film came out. Let's see, Rachel Weisz. What has she been up to? Let's see. That's right, she was in Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves. So that was the first of two movies she did. Because then later she did Constantine. She was in Runaway Jury. She was in The Lovely Bones. Oh, she was in Dream House. That's right. You know what? I actually didn't mind that film. A lot of people hated that film with Daniel Craig. I actually did not mind Dream House. Oh, I forgot she was in Black Widow. I completely fucking forgot she was in Black Widow. Yeah, there's a fucking reason why I forgot that shit. The movie's awful. Yeah, that guy with the umbrella that I was mentioning, yeah, he was in Jumanji. Jonathan Hyde was his name. Yeah, he was in Richie Rich as Cadbury. Jumanji, he was the dad, and then he was the hunter from the game. That's right, he was in Anaconda. That's right. He was in Crimson Peak. Says here in the late 80s, producer Jim Jackson and Sean Daniel wanted to update the original 1932 film. They said yes if the budget was $10 million. They wanted a low-budget horror franchise. In 1987, George Romero wrote a treatment. He was attached to direct. Universal wanted an unstoppable mummy like the Terminator. It would take place in present. Scientists inadvertently bring a mummy to life who wants to use an ancient device to destroy all life on Earth. Romero went away and the project was abandoned. Then they tried to get Clive Barker. Dark and violent, with the story revolving around an art museum that rebuilds an entire Egyptian tomb in Beverly Hills. Clive Barker's take was dark, sexual, and filled with mysticism. Would have been a great low-budget movie. But Clive Barker said the concept was too weird for the studio. At one point, Joe Dante was attached, increasing the budget for his idea of Daniel Day-Lewis as a brooding mummy. A draft rewritten by John Sayles, set in contemporary times and focused on reincarnation with elements of a love story. Came close to being made, but studio balked at the higher price. George Romero returned in '94 with a vision of a zombie-style horror. '94 he completed a draft. It revolved around a female archaeologist and her discovery of the tomb of Imhotep. It was in an American city in modern times. Events are set in motion with Imhotep inadvertently awakening as a result of his body having been exposed to rays from an MRI scan in the high-tech forensic archaeology lab. The lady finds herself drawn into a relationship with Imhotep while also experiencing flashbacks to her previous life and the dynasty of Egypt as a priestess. Well, that previous life thing is kind of like in The Mummy Returns. Summoning mystical powers through incantation, Imhotep later resurrects the mummy of Taras, a loyal slave, who embarks on a vengeful rampage against the grave robbers of his tomb. It was considered too dark and violent. Medeiros was involved at one point. Wes Craven was offered the film but turned it down. And then in 1997, Stephen Sommers called and said, kind of Indiana Jones or Jason and the Argonauts with the mummy as a creature giving the hero a hard time. Which I actually like that idea. Stephen Sommers pitched his Mummy to Universal with an 18-page treatment. He did not want to remake the original film. He wanted to turn into a romantic adventure with horror elements. Producer Jim Jeffs offered the role, this lead, to Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, but they said no or could not fit into their schedules. The producer and the director were impressed with the money that George of the Jungle made and cast Brendan Fraser. Jim Jeffs had produced Hard Target with Arnold Vosloo, so that's how he got involved. Filming began in May of 1998. Filmed for 17 weeks. $15 million were spent on the special effects alone. And if you're wondering, it says the budget here was $80 million. But made over $400 million worldwide, so did pretty decent. Test audiences reacted poorly to the film's title because I guess they were thinking of the old Mummy film, what? But then they had a TV spot for the Super Bowl that cost $1.6 million. And I vaguely remember that too. And be like, oh shit, this looks, fun. Yeah, Roger even did give it a positive review. I was cheered by nearly every minute of it. I was not bored and sometimes I was unreasonably pleased. Yeah, it's a crowd pleaser. Heart, humor, heroics, and horror. Yeah, VHS and DVD released September 1999. And yeah, there was a video game of this, and I forgot what it was for. PlayStation, and one for Game Boy Color. Yeah. But yeah, it's still, a fun movie. Fun film. And let me look up trivia. Just because it's here. Yeah, there's Jonathan Hyde holding the book. He's the one who's in Anaconda and Jumanji. Again, the guy holding the book there that Rachel Weisz is stealing right now. Again, Frasier was cast because George of the Jungle was a hit. The library thing at the beginning was done in one take. It would have taken an entire day to reshoot it if a mistake had been made. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. According to the director, he got a call the morning after the movie was released and said, "We need another one." The crew could not shoot in Egypt because of the unstable political conditions. So it was shot in places like Morocco. Sorry, I just looking to see if there's any other, as the shit's hitting the fan here. Oh shit! Better run for the fucking hills. I don't know if this is true, but it says here Leonardo DiCaprio was rumored to have been offered the role, and it's believed he said to have loved the script and wanted to be in the film, but he agreed to star in The Beach. It was said that he asked if The Beach could be delayed so he could film it, but producers refused, and filming The Beach was delayed anyway, because that came out in 2000. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, I've seen The Beach, and it was a piece of shit, in my opinion. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio could work, but I think Brendan Fraser definitely showcased more of that humor and sense of fun. This like old school type of adventure quality. But Leo's a good actor. Which again is ironic, because Brendan Fraser's now going to be with Leo in that new Martin Scorsese film. Here we go. Guy lost his glasses like he was Velma and say, "Ah, motherfucker." Obviously, because of the rating, this would not be a gory film or any of the lights. So I think maybe some people were mad about that, but like I said, I still find this a lot more fun than the other adaptations of The Mummy. This has a certain fun energy to it. It really does go and doesn't stop. Ah, shit. Oh yeah, this is a guy. Kind of makes me wonder why he took the guy's eyes, but then he just left the rest of them there. I guess just for the shits and giggles. Ain't got other time for you. We have the Mummy himself. I do like Brendan Fraser's reaction to it. You're asking a guy's help who has no fucking eyes, lady. What is he gonna do? Breathe on him? Can't see shit. Yeah, the Mummy, I mean, it's 1999. It's not great CGI. It's definitely of its time. I don't know why. When I saw that up close to the Mummy, it kind of made me think of Grover from fucking Muppets or something. Like if Grover was skinned. No, Sesame Street? Isn't that Grover? Sesame Street? That's what I meant. I don't fucking know. I see, it shows how much I know. But yeah, for 1999, I could see the try and effort, and compared to. See, it's stuff like that that made the film fun and a hit. Like, okay, you see this thing streaming, what you don't do? You don't stream back, yourself, and then shoot it with a shotgun. That's like, yeah, that type of emotional reaction. That's almost a little bit of the Terminator thing. What Oded Ferris say? He will not stop ever until you are dead. And yeah, if one of the older versions was to have him be like a Terminator type, oh, it kind of made sense. I think I like the bit where he does one and then he says, "Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, let's try this one." There you go. No, okay. I don't know why you think he would care about Chinese, but just saying. Sorry, I'm laughing because the Mummy, compared to stuff nowadays, it doesn't look the greatest. I do wish Steven Summers. I love Deep Rising. I love other stuff. I do wish he would have been a guy that would have taken a step back and tried for more practical effects. If there's one drawback I have about this film, and yeah, I love Deep Rising, but one drawback of that film, more usage of practical effects. I mean, if you can make like Stan Winston do an alien queen, yeah, And I understand, like, the mummy would be tough because you have to see parts through him. But you could have a guy in a suit, then have, like, parts of green screen that could maybe then see through. I mean, look at Hollow Man, made Kevin Bacon invisible, and that didn't come out too long after this. So you have a guy in a suit, some really good makeup, and then have parts that you could see through. And of course, we had that brief bit before where someone was taking the cat off to establish that there is a cat there for later, so it doesn't seem as if a cat comes out of fucking nowhere. Same thing here, we're establishing this older guy here. So again, it doesn't seem like this guy just pops out of nowhere later on. And this guy talking about how he wishes he would have gone down to blaze of glory, which he gets his wish later. I actually don't mind this outfit that he wears here, mostly in black. You would think there'd be at least one person watch over this guy since he's fucking blind, he's got no ton, in case he needs something. Do you think again there'd at least be one guy watching? But if they did, you wouldn't have this scene, I guess. But yeah, that scene is really awful with the way the mummy looks. It does, I mean, like I said, it's hard to get mad because it's 1999. Like if that same effect was in 2022, then yeah, I would get more upset. But like that shot there, like that could have been a practical effect. I mean, you just make doesn't have to be Freddy Krueger, but a bit of a effect here. Put a couple fake bugs or hell with that kind of stuff. The real bugs. I mean, well, I just can't be scarabs, but like this stuff is effective. That up close with the fire and people being on fire. Then you had that big CG shot. But it's an interesting idea to see him grow more and more skin, more muscle, more stuff of that nature. Usually at the time it was ambitious. I didn't. Nowadays it'd be like, what the fuck is this? But I didn't. Back in the day, it was ambitious for what it is. And that stuff I don't mind. I don't mind like the bit of sand and the face encasing over the sand as it leaves. Like, that's a cool shot. That's a neat shot. Kind of reminds me of the Sandman, Spider-Man type of stuff. But I mean, with the '90s, you saw that change from the old school blockbusters. Like, think about the blockbusters of the '80s. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had Sylvester Stallone, you had Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, Predator, Rambo: First Blood Part 2, The Terminator. A different ball game when it comes to when you get into the '90s and you see CGI becoming more of a tool, showcasing the importance of that tool, and films like Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Jurassic Park kind of made studio and bigwigs go, whoa, this is a new form of entertainment for the public, and they looked at the box office. Terminator 2 did very, very well. Jurassic Park did very, very well. At Jurassic Park, there was some good practical effects, but there was also CG as well. Oh, we don't need action stars anymore. We need the big spectacle. The big spectacle for people to pay their money to see it on the biggest screen possible. So you're getting more and more into this effects driven motif of films. So you had Independence Day, you had Twister in '96, you had some of them were flops like Speed 2 Cruise Control, some of them were hits, of course Titanic being a huge one in '97. You had Armageddon in '98. Like even '99, you had The Matrix, you had Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. People forget, a lot of critics and a lot of people liked The Phantom Menace when it came out. Not everybody. No, not everybody, but it's kind of looked as universally derided. It really wasn't the case back then. There were some going, what the fuck, but there was a decent amount that like, oh wow, this is pretty good. I mean, not everybody, but I didn't feel that there was a huge backlash. Maybe a little bit of Jar Jar Binks, a little bit, but that seemed to come years afterward. Those pictures makes us realize that it's Jonathan Hyde's apartment that he's ramshackling. Ooh, nice throw of that chair. And I see the sort of back and forth banter between Fraser and Kevin J. O'Connor as one of the better parts of the movie. Just a book, I swear. Oh, and your sister. I'm guessing that was one of those, I forget what it's called. You have a stunt double dressed up as Kevin J. O'Connor jump out, and then the real Kevin is sitting there the whole time. They go, okay, now get up. Your stunt double jumps down, goes off. Now you get up and shake your head. Okay, now we're definitely much more Arnold Vosloo doing his Candyman thing. I know it's that, Candyman's the bees, but still. You think these two would like just find a fucking warn these guys right now and just find a fucking anything and get the fuck out of Dodge as soon as possible? But I mean, then you wouldn't have the movie that you have. It's one of those tough things to do for a film because like these two guys are going to die. Like these two guys are going to die because that it's going to get to a point that he thought it'd be strong enough, so the stakes are higher to take over the entire world. So it's like it's coming, so you have to develop of how and when it happens. Like that was kind of an interesting type of shot where you see the shadow of the figure and being turned into complete bones, and there's the remains of it. Again, that being done in a shadow, that was an interesting idea. Stuff like this is cool that they did this practical. I mean, why would they not? Trust me, nowadays the most simple things will be used and portrayed in CGI. Well, no, you don't like that. Just push fucking sand through the damn T-hole and showcase that. Yeah. Well, I always knew cats were cool. That's why you need a cat. I got enough cats here, it would probably give the mummy a heart attack, so I'm safe from him and his sorry ass. Museum of Antiquities. Yeah, go to Indiana Jones. I wonder if there's ever thought of doing that kind of crossover. Like, I mean, there is nothing to say that Indiana Jones is not in this universe. I mean, there's nothing to say on the contrary. So, that actually would not have been a bad crossover. Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford and well, I mean, they worked together on that film Extraordinary Measures, but like Indiana Jones and this character Fraser plays, that could actually work rather well. It's not all these people as slaves. Like I said, I don't know how people feel about this movie nowadays. Because people may look at the CGI and make fun of it or really denounce it because of that. But again, there's a point that you have to look at the way the technology was at the time. And at the time for CGI, that was the best they could do. That's why I did for me. I would say try to do as much practical as possible. It'd be tough. Like the stuff with Anno Vosloo, it's really Anno Vosloo, but they have this bit here of CG. The early portions, that could have been done for a guy in a suit, and kind of what they're doing with Anno Vosloo, where you see this part of his mouth, or cheek, or chin, and it's CG. They could have done it with a practical effect, but that kind of reminds me of Shaun of the Dead, when they're trying to pretend to be zombies to blend in. See, I did little moments like that. It's fun, it's goofy, but it's entertaining in its deep as a manner. Yeah, that sense of adventure and fun. That I do think there are people that still enjoy this film to this day. I should look on what the IMDb is for this. I know there's still people that care for Brendan Fraser, and when that new crappy Mummy came out, they're like, "Man, wish it was Brendan Fraser that did it." But again, he's had 3 films, and 2 of them didn't really need to be made. Like I said, another adventure film they had was Journey to the Center of Earth, and I wasn't really a big fan. Oh, this is a cool shot where he punches a guy, and the guy just knocked him to the... I think it's coming up. Yeah, right there. That punch, and the guy flies to the pole. I thought that was kind of pretty cool and satisfying. Again, like, you have to, you know, these guys, these Americans, are not going to make it. So it's kind of hard to portray that, and how do you do that in a way that you know it's coming, and then are people going to be annoyed or bored, or just like, okay, find it, get it over with. Just a 7.1 IMDb. So yeah, it does still have a bit of a fan base. 7.1. Great adventurous fun. Fun adventure film. Endlessly entertaining. Great dynamic between Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser. I agree with that. Yeah, wisecracks, special effects. The effects here were cutting edge at the time. That's true. Yeah, the common fun. That's the word I keep seeing over and over again. Fun. You're the first one coming after. And yeah, I do like that. You're the first one I'm coming after. Be seeing you again. I think Brendan Fraser is one of those guys that can do comedy but can do serious stuff as well. Like I say, very talented in that. Like I said, I wish we could have seen more in these. It is fun and silly, but at the same time, it's serious enough that the stakes are there. And Fraser's, there's no muddying. Fraser every 5 minutes muddying for the camera. Like he's still an adventure hero type. It would have been nice to see other type of films with him as his adventure hero type. It would have been really nice to see. Sorry, I had to respond to someone. And sorry about that. I was looking on my Facebook, and the story here is Matthew Perry talked shit about Keanu Reeves. Fuck Matthew Perry, man. Fuck Matthew Perry and his dumbass. Maybe he's on the fucking bottle again. I don't know. Fucking dumbass. Fuck you, Matthew Perry. Go suck a fucking dick. Sorry, I know that's pretty random, but yeah, fuck Matthew Perry. Anyway, getting back to this. Hey, sometimes you get that random stuff in commentary like this. You get coming up. I remember this being the big part of the TV spots and trailers was this sandstorm thing coming up. Like the thing that really sold her for the audience, like the Super Bowl TV spot, even some of the trailers, like the finale would be this big sandstorm with the face and Brendan Fraser shooting at it. I just because that really does showcase this isn't a shambling, slow mummy and rags coming after you. Oh, this is what it is. The big spectacle, action, escapism, adventure, bigger than life. And again, at the time, with effects, this was the top of the marks for 80 million. Yeah, this big old scene here. Must pedal faster. And I said, well, what more can you do with it? So, you can spell all you want, but I'm going to annoy the shit out of you with this. Yeah, this stuff here with the machine gun, the mouth coming up. That was a big selling point, because again, it really sold the big spectacle. Like, whoa, what the fuck is that? But there's been so many now of these types of big spectacle films that there's really nothing more you can do. I mean, at the time, this felt, because of the time of the 70s and 80s, were a whole different realm of movies and escapism, different type of action. In the 90s, especially from 93 on, kind of like how you were trying to look for new type of practical effects in the 80s to rival one another. This was in the realm of CGI. And after this, you had Lord of the Rings and stuff. But now, there's been so many things. How many times have we seen a movie where an entire city has been blown up, discombobulated, destroy every building in every way, shape, or form? What the fuck else can you do? And so now it becomes tired and old hat. Same with all these superhero films. Like, how many of these superhero comic book films nowadays is just another big CGI spectacle, fights, and no, the laws of gravity don't apply. It becomes so tedious and it's just so run of the mill that nothing about it feels special at all about it. Winston, that was his wish, to go down Blaze of Glory, and he was able to do it there. That's why he got almost like a bit of a smile on his face. Went down with his ship, in this case his plane. But yeah, I mean, especially when you get into the last, like someone mentioned, the 40 minutes of this movie, it just goes. Like, you have battling the slaves of Imhotep and that car chase, then you have this whole thing with the plane, and then you don't have this whole thing with the crypt and battling all these other mummy, almost as zombies, but mummies. Like, people don't realize how fun. It's crazy how people just mock a fun movie. It can't be just fun. There's gotta be agendas. There's gotta be politics. It's gotta say some deep meaning. And how many actors and how many people just mock, oh yeah, it's just a dumb, fun, yeah, whatever. As if that's not an important endeavor for movies and audiences. It's like people in Hollywood and people up there don't realize that so many people, they're working their asses off, working sometimes 2 jobs, 3 jobs, working 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, and they want to be able to just sit back and relax and have fun. Yeah. Okay, if you're trying to cut the guy's shoulder that much, like, that's a big fucking bud, and you're cutting into the shoulder and you have to dig it out, that's gonna be bleeding like a motherfucker. And I don't think you see a drop of blood, obviously because of the kind of film it is, but it's like, come on, that's a knife, and the bud's, pretty fucking big, you dig into the shoulder. That's not like a paper cut. It's not like a paper cut, so where the fuck is all the blood and shit at? Again, they're not going to have blood in it because it's... I think I read up, one thing they mentioned is no gore. But again, like, I mean, stabbing the fucking shoulder, it's not like that blood was tiny. So he should be fucking still bleeding profusely and ready to pass out. Let's see, does he even have a bandage on? He better at least have a damn bandage on his shoulder. I don't know. I mean, you don't see it. That's a cool trick, the reveal. And that's a lot of treasure, man. That's a shitload of treasure. I would love to get a piece of that. But I could be a sucker for those type of adventure films with treasures and hidden tombs, and I think, because as a kid, there's that part of your brain that will love to go on an adventure and find this big reward and be set for life, and yeah, there's danger, and yeah, in real life you don't want to deal with that danger, but you live in through a character's eyes in a movie, you can kind of enjoy their adventure without literally being in the danger. Like, those are pretty decent practical. Yeah, just shoot the shit out of them. Sometimes, and that's where you get more your old school Mummy. Slow moving, the rags. That's where you get more your old school Mummy, kind of moving like a zombie, and without blood, so you use the dust to elicit the what normally would be blood. You use dirt, sort of in the same fashion with those creeps, which I mean makes sense because they've been so dead for so long. There would be no blood. Sometimes you just want to see people shoot the shit out of stuff. Look at Predator. You know what's a big scene in that movie? I love it. The match right off Oded Fair's cheek. Like, that's a decent practical explosion. Good job on the stuntman. I mean, to be in front of an explosion, no matter how small you think it is still a pretty ballsy thing to do. But I was saying, just look at Predator. What's one of the big scenes? Shoot the shit out of the jungle. And people still remember that. Sometimes you just want to see people shoot the shit out of stuff. Whether as a release of anger or any other type of thing, the animal instinct in you that we suppress by to destroy, or whatever the hell you want to go into your deep thoughts with Jack Handy about. Sometimes you just want to see people shoot the shit out of stuff. But see, now it'd be like, oh, you can't have the guy save the girl because it's too sexist. That's too sexist. Guy has to be an asshole. Now here's the thing about this Benny guy. He has enough treasure. He could leave now. He would have been set for life. He would absolutely been set for life. But no, greed just, it wasn't enough. I do wonder if at one point there was a idea that they were going to kill this character off, played by Oded Fair. I'm guessing not though, because they do, we don't see him die, and they have him disappear back there, so there's a lot of, leeway that, yeah, he could have survived and made it out and been perfectly fine. But I just wonder if there's any idea, which I'm fine letting him live, because Oded Fair does a good job in that role. And I haven't talked nearly enough about Jared Goldsmith's music, but he definitely amplifies the adventure aspect to this. And like I say, he's a wonderful composer, may he rest in peace. Again, Aliens, Star Trek the Motion Picture, the first 3 Rambo films. Loved his score for Runaway with Tom Selleck, Leviathan. And he did a great job with this as well. And coming up is when Brennan is fighting the mummies, the priests, is my favorite piece of music in the movie. When he's fucking them up with the sword. Yeah, this is my favorite piece of music from Jerry Goldsmith in the movie. And probably my favorite scene. Like the amount of, like have the choreography to get this, and obviously this is a very satisfying, fun sequence. Just being a badass, and then the music really heightens it. You do get a sense of humor, like the one juggling the head. See, that scene there kind of epitomizes why this film became a hit and why this film became, 7.1 to be. There's still people liking it to this day. Is it's not a parody, but it's still a sense of fun. Like, listen, we know it's about mummies. We know it's not fucking Shakespeare or Masterpiece Theater or Taxi Driver, but we're taking it seriously enough, but at the same time, there's a good sense of fun to be had. Like, cut this guy's legs off. Oh shit! Good job, John Anna. You just made things a lot worse. That's okay, John Anna. Take your fucking time doing that inscription. See, that's a little bit of that Han Solo, like remember in the original Star Wars where Han Solo's running, and then sees all the stormtroopers. Oh shit! He doesn't say that, but I bet he said that in his head and he runs the other way. Again, a bit of that. Or maybe in a little bit of Raiders of the Lost Ark where that big swordsman, fuck it, boom, shoot him with the gun. See, that's the stuff that people remember and enjoy. Again, that sort of Indiana Jones quality to it. And this is definitely a Jason and the Argonauts inspired bit. Face off with these guys with the sword play. Only in that it was stop motion. Here it's CGI. Like this is where like the CGI doesn't bother me, and it makes for fun bit of choreography. And then here's some practical there. That's a real person in a suit on fire, meshes well with the scene. So that's like even this Anatsunamun, whatever the hell her name is, that's done practical. So not every fucking thing is CGI. So it doesn't look entirely like a video game from beginning to end. Talk about close shave. Okay, ease up a little bit. On the Moon, yeah. Oh shit. She's getting stabbed the fuck out. I mean, that's one of the few things I did not mind about the Mummy Returns is you did get more of an actual one-on-one fight between Fraser and the Mummy. Just like here, it's pretty much him being overpowered, which makes sense because the guy's supernatural. But because of certain events, there is a bit more of a... Which maybe they could have done in this, where like Fraser's getting beaten up, and then they do something. He loses, he's mortal, and then they have a sword fight. But I just, Yeah, you notice on Brendan Fraser's face that his face was losing a bit of color, I guess, to being choked out, and then that's a little detail I didn't notice. But if I did rewatch that bit, you look at Brendan Fraser's face, you see his color kind of disappearing because of he's supposed to be losing air, I guess. Which is funny, they didn't do that when he was being strangled earlier in the film, the hanging, but they did that here. Mortal. Not Mortal Kombat, Mortal. Oh shit. He's saying, my career. I need this mummy, I have no career. Death is only the beginning. And here we have Benny here again. Letting greed died from his own greed. But I mean, this was a character that needed to get his comeuppance. And it does, as he should. Sorry if the commentary is not as exciting, and because it's not going to be a riff track thing. Because I actually, if I like the film, I'm not making fun of a film that I like. And I didn't work on the film, so I don't have like a lot of detail about the making of it. But still a very fun, satisfying movie. Man, all that gold. But also the setup of the whole thing with Benny is that he had that gold. That's how these people got the gold. Because Benny, he put it there and he wanted more, and inadvertently Benny gave them a richer life. And do you see, Fraser? At least there's a bit of morality or code with Fraser that he did try a little bit. There's just nothing else he could do. This shot here is just one of the scarier parts to me. I thought he is almost crushed. I mean, maybe this thing, I don't know if it's made of foam or something, but I did it's closing down. It got pretty damn close. I'm guessing they could stop. But like I said, I'm guessing it was made of foam or something. So if it wasn't quite as fast, it would, I don't know, not hurt him. But the idea of just being crushed like that is, ew. Um, sort of that shit out of luck bit for this character. I mean, think of this character in this situation. There's no way you're gonna make it out of it. There's just no way. There's nothing you can do. And there you go. But this stuff is pretty good. Like, this stuff is actual stuff being... Again, it's not wall-to-wall CGI. Like, this stuff is practical. This stuff is being done. And that meshes well. Obviously, that bit's, you know... The actors aren't really there, but... And this stuff here, I don't know if it's all CG or if it's just... Maybe, like... They blew something up miniature and superimposed. I don't know all the details. That bit with the thing, that might have been CG there. But this dust particles, if I didn't, I don't know. But it's kind of crazy. Like, Old Dave Fair's character is not really an innocent party. I mean, think about it, for years he probably killed an amount of innocent people to keep this secret. So it's not like he's, you know, hunky-dory innocent person. But just because of the way Oded Fair plays it, we kind of either lose track of that or something to that effect. And of course, they don't know that Benny, what he did, but they'll find out sooner or later. And I like that too. I like that. Yeah, it's the, you know, they saved the world. These two fell in love, but I like that there's actual monetary gain from it too. I don't know, just makes it that bit more satisfying. Satisfying. There's a lot of times that, oh, you know, it's not what really matters, but I mean, it does help quite a bit in the real world for people. And that's The Mummy. Stephen Sommers wrote and directed it. Screen story by 3 people, including Sommers. Jim Jacks, producer. I know Jim Jacks, he, like I say, he helped produce Hard Target. I think he also helped produce Mallrats with Kevin Smith. And I think he was a producer on Tremors. So I worked with Universal quite a bit. Because on the Mallrats, I think he's interviewed on that when the newer Blu-ray special edition came out. I think Jim Jacks is interviewed. I could be wrong. Brendan Fraser, again, seems like a very nice guy. Nice to see that, you know, he's getting some work. And it seems like people are praising it. Arnold Vosloo, I know he hates Hard Target, but oh well, I still love it. Well, I should say he hated the experience. Probably hated, I don't know. If it was working with Van Damme, it's weird because there's very rare scenes that he's with Van Damme. I mean, you look at Arnold Vosloo, most of the time he's working with Lance Henriksen. So, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, probably if you ask him about Hard Target, he'll be pissed at you. Like, sorry dude, didn't get the memo. Shut up, sorry. Take over your stupid Darkman sequels. And yeah, this came on 99, and then The Mummy Returns was... What was that, 2002? Or 2001? I can't remember what fucking year that came out. But well, I know we're getting to the end here, so I'll just watch the credits a little bit, see if anything comes into play. But this film is still fun. It goes at a good pace. Like I said, the CGI might might be a detriment to a chunk of people, but I did for its time. It was ambitious, and like I say, if this type of CGI was in 2022, I'd be more critical. But it was 1999. I mean, it's not really fair to say is that up to par with films of today when it was done how many decades ago now? Over 20. Is it? Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, it's been over 20 years since this film came out. That's crazy. Just again, fun escapism. For some reason, it's such a hard thing to find nowadays. I know people would say these comic book movies, but just if that's what it is, and you honestly get that, that's good. As I say, more power to you. I don't know. They just they force an agenda down your throat, or you're just such a dime a dozen milk toast humdrum run of the mill machine, especially Marvel, that just comes off as empty and forgettable. Like, can someone really tell me that people don't remember Black Widow and Shang-Chi and this other shit compared to, like, The Mummy? Like, The Mummy, people talk about this film and enjoy this film. Do you think people don't say the same fucking thing about The Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Legend of the Seven Rings? Whatever the fuck it was called. Shang-Chi, Legend of the fucking Seven Cock Rings. I don't know what the fuck. No one's gonna remember that. No one's gonna remember Wildo, Black Widow, Black Dildo. No one's gonna remember the Eternals. But people do remember The Mummy. I think because of how shitty that Tom Cruise film was, this film got appreciated even more. So at least that's one positive thing that happened. But like I said, this film only needed one movie. It did not need. Not every fucking thing needs a sequel. That's another thing people have to realize. There are sequels I enjoy. There's many sequels I enjoy. Rocky sequels, Rambo sequels, Indiana Jones sequels, Lethal Weapon sequels, Die Hard sequels. Not every single one of them, but a good chunk of them. Yeah. But not everything needs a fucking sequel. Independence Day did not need a sequel. And look how shitty that was. Twister does not need a sequel. And now they want to make another one and try to get Helen Hunt back. For fuck's sake, Bill Paxton passed away. You don't need a Twister sequel. You did not need a sequel to The Mummy. That ending, the mummy's destroyed. They fell in love. They're going home. They got gold. Happily ever after. There's nothing else to tell. And you look at the other two films, that was pretty much proven. And yet, hey, there are films I would love to see a sequel. I'd love to see a sequel to Dread. Love to see a sequel to Hardcore Henry. Sequel to Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen. But those films didn't make money, so there you go. Instead, we did Escape Plan 2. We did Escape Plan 3. Terrifier 2. Whatever. Yeah, Industrial Light and Magic did this, which was George Lucas's company. I don't know if it is anymore, if he sold it, I can't remember. Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith did a great job with the score, may he rest in peace. Morocco and Shepperton Studios, England. Special thanks to the Forces Armies Royales of Morocco. 1999 Universal Studios. I know The Mummy Returns did well in terms of business. I think that probably helped Alphaville. Huh. Never heard of that company before. PG-13. And let me just see what is on this DVD, because it's been a while since I checked this DVD out. We got featured commentaries. One with Stephen Sommers and editor Bob Ducey. One with Brendan Fraser. And one with Oded Fehr, Kevin J. O'Connor, and Arnold Vosloo. Building a Better Mummy, which I think this is from the old DVD. Yeah, it's 49 minutes long. I remember Universal actually had some of this decent sized documentaries. Or like you go behind the scenes. Like, I think there was one for The Mummy. I think there was one for Mercury Rising. Like, it was made at the. It was done. How do I put it? Before the movie came out. It's not after the movie came out. At least I don't think. It's like, okay, this is promotion for before the movie's coming out. And this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This is why we're making the film. And it's all these interviews put together. Universal, it'd be like their collector's edition series. Like, I think Mercury Rising was part of it. I think that's why like Mallrats got that. But that was after the film came out. They talk about the film after it came out. Yeah, I believe, yeah, these are all interviews before the film came out. Talk about the making of the film. And yeah, this is like 49 minutes long, so they're going to the effects and all the other stuff. One of those films I'm surprised hasn't gotten like a big special edition with like new interviews. Considering such a film people like, and got 2 sequels. You would think it would have. That's mainly it for the features. Is production notes. And remember when you have production notes and you just text to read? Remember DVD-ROM features? Well, there is a disc 2 with features, to be fair, on this one. Like, the DVD-ROM materials includes interactive games, screensavers, wallpapers, and additional information about the movie. And easy access to the internet and Universal Studios links with current promotions and special offers. You will need to be running Windows 95 or later and have a DVD-ROM drive. Man, that takes me back. DVD newsletter. What the fuck is a DVD newsletter? Sign up now and become part of the Universal DVD Online community. You will receive the latest info about upcoming releases and special DVD promotions via our Universal e-newsletter. You will get a sneak peek into our bonus features, exclusive interviews with directors, and some surprises. Register online at dvd.universalpictures.com. DVD Online Community. Upcoming releases and special DVD promotions. Sneak peek into bonus features. Never heard about a fucking DVD newsletter. Okay. But yeah, this is the Ultimate Edition. I don't remember Disc 2, so I don't know if there's any new interviews. It's been a while. I don't know where Disc 2 is. Because I might have misplaced that somewhere else. But anyway, with that said, thanks once again. Thanks to you, Lucas. Take care, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.